Hey there, hello, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Degrassi video on this Wednesday, November the 4th, 2020. It is actually my mom's birthday. I'm not going to tell her age because it is kind of her age today is basically a very huge sexual euphemism, and I don't think I want to say this on my video. So anyway, I'll be doing a few videos today. This first one is about the whole concern about Emma in season 5 and dating Peter. Now, I'll give you the background story of this thing. I know I've done an unpopular opinion and a what if about that. I don't know if I did a what if about if Emma wasn't with Peter. I should probably do one, but that's for another time. Basically put, in season 5, Emma meets a boy in the season premiere that she falls in love with. And, you know, she's happy and all that. And strangely enough, she introduces herself and says, Hi, Peter. I'm Degrassi. Welcome to Emma. And then, you know, it's kind of cute and all. So basically, Emma found somebody she really could enjoy. And basically, you know, all that. But Peter has eyes on her best friend, Manny. So basically, Manny's going through a plausible thing, trying to get plastic surgery so that she can get movie roles and all that. But Peter sees Manny as being some kind of hot chick and basically being an actress. So he decides, I better date her because, you know, maybe I can get some betterment with her. So basically, Manny doesn't agree with that. She tells Peter that basically, I don't want to be with you. Emma wants to be with you. But Peter basically says that, I don't care. I want to be with you. Emma is just plain Jane. You're hot. I think that was his plan. So basically, Manny goes over to Peter's. Probably just to, like, you know, just to go out with him. And all that. And then, unfortunately, you know, Manny gets drunk and then she flashes him, saying, I'm going to be famous as an actress. And Peter takes video of that. Why did Manny realize? No. Did Manny know Peter took a video of her when she was intoxicated? Probably not. So basically what ends up happening is that, you know, Manny, as these things, and then Peter basically said that if you don't go out with me, you know, I'm going to tell this video. Manny still tries to get to be with Peter. Peter won't budge. Then Peter basically said that you broke my camera. It's going to cost $3,000 to fix it. And Manny says, really? And Peter says, if you don't pay me the money for that camera, I'm releasing the video. All that. It's like, I guess he put it in a safe, secret location. Manny tries her best. So she decides to go to the plastic surgeon and get back her money. She couldn't get cash. She only could get it on the credit card that I guess, used her dad's credit card on that. And basically, you know, that's just terrible. So Manny can't get the cash. Peter basically says, well, you can't get the cash? Guess what? The video's coming out. And so everyone is objectifying Manny. Emma is at first pissed off at Manny because it's like, you went with Peter? You're supposed to have... You stole Peter from me. Why did you do that? And then Manny's parents basically didn't want to deal with Manny that night. So Manny stayed over with Emma. Manny realized something bad had happened when she told Emma. I can't remember how she said it. No matter what happens tomorrow, still love you as a friend. Go to sleep, Manny. So basically, Emma is mad at Manny. And then, thankfully, though, Emma finally realizes that Manny wasn't the bad guy. It was Peter. Mostly after Manny's dad was angry at Manny for what she did to get you an actress and all that. I don't think he knew about the video. But he basically said, you quit your acting right now. Manny says, I can't promise you that. And then the dad turns to the mom and says, tell your daughter she's no longer welcome here. So basically, he's basically a little angry at Manny. And Manny's mom basically doesn't want to stand up to her husband, fearing retribution. So basically, Manny is thrown out. Emma decides that after Manny got objectified, and after learning Peter was the scumbag the whole time, decides to ask Snake to take Manny in. Manny's allowed to come. She has to produce a an A grade average, and no acting for a year. And Emma also put something on Manny saying that no secrets between us. So basically everything is fine and dandy between them. And then, a few episodes later, Emma comes up with the right idea that she needs to get revenge for Manny. So she decides to do something with Peter and get him in trouble with everybody. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that we found out at the end of that episode that Peter actually is Hatzalakos' son. It's like, what? So Peter allegedly got 5 weeks of detention. He didn't get suspended. He didn't get expelled for that topless video. I mean, like, fuck Hatzalakos. What are you doing? Of course, we wouldn't know much about the Peter and his parents' problems. That was an alliteration I didn't want to make. But anyway. So Emma decides to try to blackmail Peter to get back at him for hurting Manny. Sadly, though, Emma felt so enthralled by Peter's shirtless pics. She basically wants to be with him. So she decides to tell Peter that we can go out, but we have to do it in private so that nobody knows we are doing it. So basically, Emma and Peter are an item. But then, when Emma and Peter had their own tryst, so too did Snake and Hatzalakos, which was weird and all that. So Snake got found out. I don't think Emma got found out. No, Emma was not found out to have it with Peter, which would have been awkward. Of course, Snake was having a midlife crisis, and Spike was not helping much. Emma just couldn't do it. Emma couldn't keep the secret in. She tells Spike, probably as a way to, like, alleviate her guilt. Spike is upset, not just about the tryst, even though it was just an innocent kiss for Snake with Hatzalakos due to the motorcycle thing, but also because he's forcing Emma to keep a secret, and she can't. Which was ironic because, Emma's keeping a secret about Peter. So anyway, so basically Snake gets thrown out of the house, Spike goes into a tailspin, Emma basically has to pick up all the responsibilities. I'm surprised Manny didn't help. So Emma is, of course, in deep decline and all that. Manny wants to help Emma out, but she needs to lose those few pounds for a role, which is weird. It's like, hang on a minute, wasn't Manny supposed to not act and all that? But Emma decides to do that, and basically Emma falls in love with this, saying that now she has control over her body and all that. Bad move ends. Because Emma starts getting an eating disorder, Manny realizes that Emma is taking control of it and is bitching to Manny about gaining weight and all that. So Emma is in free fall. And the worst part is she's dating Peter. Basically put, Emma blurts out that she's dating Peter only because Manny threatened to tell Spike about Emma's eating disorder. Of course, now the secret's out. But Peter, to his credit, actually tells Manny that he's worried about Emma and all that. And Manny understands that Peter's concerned about Emma. So they have an intervention. Emma storms out, basically lashes at everybody, saying that you take advantage of drunk chicks to Peter. You're the drunk chick to Manny. And tells Snake, and last I checked, you were making out with his mom. Emma has a panic attack. She's in the hospital for a couple of weeks. She starts to get better with her eating disorder. Manny and Peter come to terms that, Emma should date Peter and all that. And, Peter helps Emma out with her eating disorder. Great job and all that. At least he's stepping up to the plate. Maybe he isn't that bad. But then comes season 6. Peter and Emma are still together. Peter has a brand new car for his 16th birthday. Emma's happy as can be. Guess who pops in? Sean. It's like, that's the last person I thought would point in. So basically, Sean pops into Peter and Emma's relationship. It's a love triangle. Emma doesn't give a straight answer to Peter over who she loves more. Peter decides to take Sean out of the picture by faking plant drugs in Sean's locker. Sean gets expelled. Sean, on the recommendation of Jay, decides to street race Peter. They end up hitting a pedestrian. They get in deep trouble with the law. Peter just gets community service. Sean goes to jail because he's of age. And I guess, that's bad news. So basically, Sean's in jail. Emma is still with Peter and all that. Peter is not allowed to be anywhere near Emma. He's under strict supervision. So basically, Emma sneaks Peter out and all that and says that it's not fair how you got out of the mask. Can't go to the dance with me. Of course, Emma doesn't realize that Peter was the bad guy. Jay and Manny decide to try to talk to Emma, saying that Emma has jumped the gun. And basically, yeah, Emma starts to learn a few things and then starts to doubt herself. She tells Manny, she says that Peter's been great to me. Who was there for my eating disorder? Who held my hand? That was him, not Sean. I can care less about Sean. And Manny says, well, then Emma says, and he put this mask in my locker. Manny says, that's great, but how did he know your locker combination? Emma thinks about it for a second, like, oh. So she knows who Peter is. And basically, Emma blasts Peter. Peter says, I did it for the relationship. Emma says, don't ever come near me again. You'll live to regret it. So, of course, Peter loses Emma and then rebounds with Darcy and Mia. He's starting to get a little bit better after losing Emma. But, of course, it got me thinking, it's like, why would Emma do all this stuff for Peter in season 6 and all that before she went back to Sean? Man, Emma, you've lost it. But I think Peter may have got himself easily. Peter might have used Emma as a shield. Because saying that Emma started it, Emma wanted to date me and all that. It's her fault too. But then, Emma's with Sean until Sean goes to the army and all that. Regardless, it's like one of those things. It's like, this is definitely not Emma's character. Emma would never go out with a guy who basically framed her best friend and all that. Of course, I'll give you my 2 cents about it later. But anyway, the Reddit community did their stuff. And this is what, 3 days ago? Someone posted this and it's got 91 comments. So anyway, Nani said, quote, I never get it. How could Emma ever date Peter? Other than to keep Peter relevant or trying to redeem him with her eating disorder storyline. But it wasn't good enough for me. How could Emma ever want to date someone who emailed a video of her drunk friend to the school? I would never lie and betray my friend by dating someone who committed a revenge porn crime against her. And she does it knowing how much it would hurt Manny. Manny wouldn't do that to Emma. And she doesn't even come to terms that he's a dick until Sean pops up. You didn't realize he was a piece of shit until when he released your best friend's video? Peter should get criminal charges. His mom being the principal was the only thing that saved him. Basically, Miranda says, Emma changed so much after the shooting. None of the decisions she made after that made a lot of sense to me. I felt like her character development went downhill. She was slightly insufferable before, but I liked the Emma who had strong convictions. I couldn't see her dating him pre-shooting, but teenagers also do dumb things. And that's what I like. That's a good quote. Because, their character development went downhill after the shooting. Because Emma basically blamed herself, in a sense, for why Rick went downhill. She protected Rick, and she probably felt guilty she protected him, because then she would have probably not been targeted by Rick. But she did the right thing. Everyone keeps forgetting that. Phantom said, Peter is one of the worst types of assholes. He's the asshole that comes from a privileged background and knows he doesn't have to face any real consequences. Because, he had a rich dad and his mom was the principal. All right. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff. Someone even said, one thing I've noticed during my rewatch is that everyone at Degrassi is forgiving. Emma and Manny say cruel things to each other often, but they're back to being best friends forever. Your partner cheats on you? That's okay. Next episode, they say sorry and get back together. Jimmy forgives Spinner and Jay. Anything Jay related seems to be forgiven by everyone. Peter's relationship timeline itself. Revenge porn with Emma's best friend. Getting Darcy to send sexy pics to somebody on the internet. Peter should not have dated anyone. He was a creep. Not cute. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people said that, how bad Emma is and all that. And how Peter is pathetic. A lot of people, well, someone said Emma wants to rebel. She dated him to piss people off. She was into the bad boys for the last half of Degrassi. She was moralistic, but then, when she realized she wasn't getting the same attention from boys that the other girls did, she did a 180. She went to the STD fan for bracelets, got naked in front of the whole school, stirred shit up with Snake and Spike. She tried to maintain her standards low key by haggling Manny about her decisions and all that. It was just terrible. Someone said, yeah, when she caught Snake and Patsalakos in the feeder, the irony was that she was sneaking behind her best friend was insane. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Emma was very self-absorbed, someone said, in my mind. She protested things that she didn't really know much about, without considering both sides in the argument. She was hot-headed. In my eyes, because Manny was drunk and made the video with Peter, Emma thought that it wasn't all his fault. She gave to her friend's aid because she needed it. But she never blamed Peter. Yeah, so Emma basically being toxic. I don't know how Emma wanted to be with Peter and all that. The writers did a crappy job of basically trying to get her back to pre-shooting format, and they failed. So I wrote in the thing, the truth is that I was gung-ho on thinking that Emma knew that if Manny had complained about her and Peter, Emma would send Manny packing from her house, as Manny has nowhere else to go after being rejected from her house by her dad. Emma, to me, had a spot of authority on Manny in season 5, and she wasn't coy about it. On the other hand, Emma did try to get Peter back for Manny, but she was moved by Peter, and basically, he may have talked to Emma a few times about realizing Manny was the evil one. This was a consequence of the writers changing Emma's character in season 4, in the wake of the Rick situation, to someone more relatable, but it just made us hate Emma a bit more. And then the author said, yeah, because that's manipulative, thinking she could be bad, but she won't say anything because I can kick her out. It was such poor writing, and a slap on the face to Manny, who had no choice but to deal with it. Manny should have cut her off when she moved back home. Peter blackmailed and then sent it out, and only moved on to her Emma because he knew she had a thing for him. Emma got a lot of grief in this thing, but technically, Emma did kind of deserve it, all the hatred and all that. I mean, this was just terrible. I mean, I like Emma, all that, and I think she's a great character, but dating Peter was just horrible. And the fact of the matter is that, she had no qualms about it until Sean came back in season 6. But it makes you think, was Sean back in season 6 only because people were lighting up those message boards in 2005 saying that why would Emma be with Peter and all that? This is a stupid relationship. Degrassi, you need to do something about it. I probably would have done something about it too. But of course, this was at the time that I didn't really watch Next Gen that much because of me being in college. So couldn't do much about it. But yeah, I think Emma basically, I don't know what's with her. She's like two different minds, if you will. I still like Emma, and I still think that she is a decent person. But you also got the fact that, you know, she's just trying to be a normal teenager. Being a normal teenager is not that easy in the world. But it goes by like by the generation and all that. Because this thing happened like 15 years ago with Emma and Peter. So basically it's like, being a teenager is a lot different 15 years like here in 2020 than it was in 2K5. So like, yeah. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I think Emma was just so desperate for male companionship and all that. Because remember, in season 4, she just got off a breakup of Chris, and she was upset that Liberty wanted to be with Chris because Emma thought to herself, if Chris and I can work out, then, everyone will be laughing at me for the fact that Chris is with a loser like Liberty. I don't know why Emma thought Liberty was a loser. Pathetic. I think Emma just didn't like Liberty for being an overachiever and all that shit. Of course, that led to Liberty and Manny breaking off with Emma in season 4. Emma basically trying to find companionship and found it in Paige's clique to get rid of Rick. Emma protects Rick from being beaten up. Paige's clique takes it the wrong way and basically says that Emma's on her own. Emma is on the Wacky Brain team with Rick, Heather Sinclair, and Toby. Basically, those are her only friends. And then Jimmy comes on and all that. So basically, Emma was kind of friendless in a sense. And then, of course, the shooting happened with Rick. It still bugs me that nobody stopped Rick in his tracks before he got to Emma. Like between from the time that he shot Jimmy to the time that he had the gun in Emma's face, he should have been stopped. Toby should have stopped him. Toby should have basically said something, and I think Rick probably would have agreed with Toby. Or, well, thank goodness that Emma basically decided to cut ties with Peter and learned her lesson, as it seemed. Like, I know she lost Sean, and then she didn't have anyone for the longest time because she had to deal with Snake's problems, thanks to Darcy. So basically, yeah, Emma with relationships just doesn't make sense, especially with the end game with Spinner. Like, fuck. So anyway, yeah, so that's basically how I feel about the Emma situation. So thanks for watching, and have yourself a good day.